Welcome to another great episode. Appreciate you being here. We got another great guest. We have DeAndrea Turner on with us. Terrible with names at times, you should know that. But I appreciate you being on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the industry and who are you?
Well, I've been in real estate for about 15 years, but for the last 6, I've been doing real estate as a realtor, a licensed realtor. I started with contracts and negotiation. I have a master's in entertainment business, and that was what kind of prompted me to enjoy contracts.
Okay.
I love contracts. They're real intricate
Right.
case study.
Right.
So real estate just kind of opened me up to being able to create a passion, love for helping people, and being able to assist people in finding their dreams.
Appreciate that. So, when I spoke with you a little bit, you're talking about the entertainment industry part of that and sometimes crazy people you're dealing with.
Yes.
So I guess, what was that like for you? What made you want to go into that industry in the beginning?
I guess it always has been, my son wanted to be a dancer.
Okay.
So I thought I was going to be this mom manager.
Okay.
And my husband is a music producer. He does music, and he's a musical engineer. And so I'm always with the contracts, always helping them out with their shows and producing. One of my best friends, she does fashion shows. So I'm always on the entertainment scene, always in the back because I never like to be on camera. But I really enjoy helping people. I enjoy making sure that the business is right, the money is right. So
Okay.
that's basically what prompted me to.
Makes sense. So when you were a little kid, I understand you grew up in Detroit, right?
Yes.
Did I get that okay? I love that city. Love that.
It's a beautiful place.
It is, for sure. It's my passion to go back and live there for a little bit too. So, so when you were growing up there as a kid, I guess who were your role models and what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Definitely Miracle Young.
Okay.
He was always just so outgoing. I mean, he ran the city the best when I was young. I just loved his family dynamics and how he didn't take anything. He ran the city superb. So Coleman Young was one of the male figures that he reminded me of my grandfather, who was a bishop, a great big bishop in the Detroit metro area. And so those were my male role models. And pretty much my grandmother, she was my role model, Margaret. She was always taking care of the community and always one who fed the community. So those were my greatest role models.
Okay. So in looking at that, did you, I guess, want to be like a public servant? Is that what you were thinking growing up, or?
No, actually, I wanted to be a radiologist.
Okay. Why that?
Just helping people. I was the body dynamics and learning the body really intrigued me at that time until I worked at the #1 trauma center for 7 years as an administrator for a receiving hospital. And I quickly lost the love for wanting to work in the hospital.
Makes sense.
So
I can't stand them. So the transition from the music industry, or I guess entertainment industry, to real estate, I guess, what was that like? I mean, in my mind, it's just completely different. And what was the linchpin that made you switch over?
Well, really, it's pretty, with the contracts and negotiation, it's the same. Basically finding the win-win between the meeting of the minds, making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and everyone is getting proper representation. And that's basically it, making sure that contracts make sense and that everyone is being fair. So I'm kind of like the fair person. I want to be the fair act person.
Makes sense. So you mentioned that you did a little bit of wholesaling. Is that correct? Wholesaling?
Yes, that was a personal thing. Me and my husband, we did wholesaling and some land. He's been in real estate for so long, so I kind of just took his hand, and he kind of was my role model in the beginning of the real estate and the music. So I have to give that to him. But I took on always the business part. I was always the business guru in it, so that's what took me.
So would you mind like just a little bit about wholesaling? What does that entail, I guess, for the layman person?
Finding someone who would like to get rid of their property but would not like to list it and kind of just want to do it really fast. And so with the wholesaling, you find someone and you find a buyer, you have someone who wants to sell, and you find a buyer and you put them together and you do the contracts on the back end without having to list it, that type of thing. Or you find mostly working with investors. So I enjoy working with investors. It's quick, it's fast, it's quick cash. Everybody likes quick cash.
Right. Okay, so basically it's what you're doing now, but just on a different playing field.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. Okay. So I guess your current clients right now, what do they look like? Who are they, and who do you serve in the industry?
Well, lately I've been serving veterans. I just have clients who are veterans and clients who are having issues with credit, trying to build their credit or trying to build their portfolios. Most of us work and, we have our 401k, we have our, savings, and we don't know what investment look like. So kind of without giving too much investment advice, just putting my client in front of the right loan officer so that they are able to know what is proper for investment, what they need to do so that they can get to the next level in life, and so that they are able to really leverage their funds that they're working so hard for.
Makes sense. Cool. So when you got in the industry, is there, I guess, misconceptions that you had that you now understand? What realtors are, what they do?
Oh yeah, before I got into the industry, I just thought that realtors were put on your pretty clothes and walk through pretty homes. But no, most of the time I'm in my gym shoes and I'm jumping over fences. I'm in dirty basements and listing homes or, looking under cabinets to make sure that, everything is good, and just protecting my clients. Right. So I didn't realize how important the realtor is to the whole transaction, and protecting the client is our greatest job. Right. And I don't think that clients even understand, like with everything that's going on now, you can go to all these new sites, Zillow and all these places, and you can find these homes, and most of the time they're scams, honestly. Not saying that Zillow is a scam, right. No, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying, most of the homes on there are already sold, they're already just a gimmick to have you call. Right. So with a realtor, you're protected, and everything is on the MLS, and we have our brokers to protect us, and so basically protection for my client.
Okay. Thank you for that, because it's, I had those same misconceptions. Even as a loan officer, I spent a lot of time in the industry is that I'm like, man, they're making 3%. I'm getting like 1. You know? So I totally understand. I get it. It's there's a lot that goes on, and instead of just, as you say, the makeup and pretty face at the end. So.
And ultimately, they don't understand that if the house does not close and the title is not, if it's not recorded,
Right.
we don't get paid.
Exactly.
So our main thing is to make sure that the closing happen and that our client is happy, because we don't want any repercussions on the other end. So yes, definitely, it's not just walking through pretty homes, but to find a meeting of the minds and finding our clients to be happy, so that that's most of the business, because after you close, the referrals is what keep us eating.
Right, exactly. So what made you leave Detroit?
Wow. Well, it was just time. I came to Arizona. My husband and I started a trucking company when we got here in 2009. And I came here to finish school. So I went to Collins College for graphic design and I got my bachelor's degree. And then later I went on to Wholesale to get my master's in entertainment business. So that was kind of what prompted me. I needed the change. In 2009, if you remember, Detroit went through bankruptcy. We went through losing a lot. We lost a lot of property, a lot of things due to politics. I'll just leave it like that. And it was a change. So with me, I'm one that enjoy reinventing myself, and so it wasn't a hard thing. I just picked up me and my children and said, I'm going. And my husband was like, oh, are you sure that's what we're gonna do? And he's like, that was the decision, and we did it. And looking back, it was a great decision. Phoenix is a beautiful place, but I'll never forget home. I love home.
Okay. So what do you think, when you went through all that and, lost what you're considering, you're building a kind of a little empire for yourself, right? And that all went away. What do you think your greatest lesson or your greatest takeaway was from that?
Nothing is promised. Mm-hmm. Nothing is promised. Everything is temporal, and nothing is promised. You must know that everything's gonna come to an end.
Mm. That's great. That's good advice. Yeah, I appreciate that. So it sounds like you consider yourself a bit of an adventurous person. You say you like to reinvent yourself all the time. What do you think has been the most adventurous thing you've done, or craziest thing you've ever done?
In 2018, my husband and I went on a venture to the Middle East.
Wow. Okay.
That was the craziest thing, because I didn't know we were gonna visit that many countries in that short amount of time. So I think it was not what I was expecting. I had been out of the country. I'm well traveled, but I was not expecting the culture shock. Okay. So I think that was pretty much the most amazing thing. But while I was there, I did peek my head into the real estate. Okay. And just knowing the difference in the currency exchange and the money exchange, and I think that opened my eyes to other avenues of investment. And even then, Trump was our president, and I didn't even realize that he had so many properties and so many Trump towers everywhere. I knew he was very well versed in real estate, but to go and be able to walk into a building that our president owned was very adventurous.
Right. In the Middle East, right?
In the Middle East, right.
Totally. So what took you guys there?
Actually, we went to make our pilgrimage. I'm a Muslim, and so we went to Mecca, we went to Medina, we went to Dubai.
That is cool.
And we did all of it within like a 2-week span.
That's cool.
It was beautiful, and it was very adventurous. That was my greatest adventure.
And you were actually able to do the pilgrimage yourself and go and do that?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Cool. That's cool. I appreciate you sharing that. That's cool. So I guess what will be something that your son will say, oh, my mom's always harping on that? What's something that you're always talking or preaching or teaching?
Well, I always tell my kids to always have a master plan, have a plan B. So never put all of your ideas in one area. So I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. That's what you call. I love to start business. I love to see others, work on their dreams. So always have a plan B. So I try to speak to all of my mentors, mentorees, about having a plan B. What is your next plan? What is your next step?
Okay, makes sense. What would be, I guess, a unique way that you've helped put food on the table?
Wow, I've done so many things, and I just enjoy work. But I used to sell clothes.
Okay.
When I worked in the emergency room, I used to sell clothes. So everyone knew me as the clothes lady.
At the hospital?
At the hospital.
Okay.
So on my lunch break, I would be running down, opening the trunk, and people would go crazy. I sold jogging suits. I sell sunglasses now.
Okay.
I'm always selling something. So that is my unique way of always having merchandise, some kind of merchandise. I sell T-shirts. I sell everything, and I enjoy selling. I enjoy seeing people smile. So.
Okay. So was that since you were young? Where did that I want to do everything come from?
Yeah, since I was young, I've always sold things because I used to have a lemonade stand.
Okay.
My grandmother had a garden, and she always had all these tomatoes and all this stuff. I said, Grandma, why we can't just put those by the lemonade stand? So I always was, she like, girl, get out my tomatoes. So it just has always been, and my dad was always, like, he was a jack of all trades. He worked on houses, he worked on cars. There was nothing that man could not fix. So I think that's where I got it from.
Okay. I guess I like to ask about books and things that people are reading, lessons that they're pulling from those things that they're reading. Do you get to read much? Do you spend time in books?
I do, but I haven't got into a good book lately, honestly. But Keller Williams' book.
Okay.
I can't even. I've drawn a blank, but I know it's a red book.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, but that's my Bible.
Okay.
That's my real estate Bible right
Okay.
there. I can't even think of the name right now. I'm sorry, but
No, it's okay.
I know you know exactly the book I'm speaking of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been the book that I don't even have the front page on it. That's probably why I can't remember. I've just taken that book, and it kind of has paper clips through it, and I go through it, and that's where I get a lot of my knowledge.
What's a lesson out there that you like to share that you share with people or that you pulled out?
Start at the beginning with the end in mind. So always when you're starting any transaction, you want to start with the end in mind, and always remember that contracts are written in friendship and fought in wars. So when I am looking at a contract, most of the time when they're signing, I'm also a signing agent too. So when they're signing, everyone's smiling, everyone's happy. But when that contract is put up, remember that it's most of the time in court or in a situation where you did not quite understand something. So with that being said, make sure that you understand what you're signing. So that will be one of my greatest tips.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna use that one. That's cool. I appreciate that. So I guess what is something that you do for your clients that no one else does for your clients, or for whatever? What is it that you do differently?
As I said, contract and negotiation is my deal.
Okay.
So I go through every line with my client. Through A and B, I hold their hands, and I make sure that I listen well to my client, And I always regurgitate, tell them what they told me. Like, this is what you said you wanted. Are you sure that's what you know? So making sure that they have their wants and their needs in proper perspective, and that they're understanding that this purchase is a long time obligation.
That's definitely different. Having a line by line, because it's usually send it over through the email and sign here. These are where you initial, and so that's for sure different.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I had a great time here with you, and I always like to give you the last word. Where could we find you? Where can we find you? Where can the people find you?
I'm at DeandreaTurner@gmail.com, or my other email is DeandreaT75@gmail.com.
What about your cell phone number?
Oh, my cell phone number, right? 480-843-6434.
I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.